Good morning. Um, I wasn't sure what I wanted to speak about today, but the topic and thing that came to mind was sharing our practice and what that entails. I think so many times as we get older in our life and as we learn from our experiences, learn from our mistakes, or learn from our falling down, sometimes we gain from those lessons, but then we sometimes forget that we're able to also be able to share that with others as well. Um, kind of within the context of meditation practice, you know, we all come to meditation, we're all drawn to it for various different reasons. Maybe the overarching underlying one had to do with some sort of suffering that we were in or a place, and we wanted something different. We wanted whatever that was what you were seeking: peace, happiness, joy, whatever you want to fill in the blank with. And when you begin on that path, sometimes in the beginning, there's so much of you feeling like you're a toddler trying to learn to walk, and it's frustrating when you fall more than you probably stand or walk. And um, each time you do that, you learn something and you take it with you as you kind of progress along the path. And before you know it, you're not just walking, but you're running and you're doing all sorts of kind of things. And it comes easily for us. And we're faced with other certain challenges in different ways. And when we find those things that are easy in our lives or maybe less challenging, um, we sometimes forget that we're able to share that with others. Um, and when we do share that with others, there's so many things that kind of unfold from that service, that giving, and that practice. The basis is kind of a renewed sense of trust and faith around what it is that you do and how you do it. It definitely also helps you to kind of refine how you are doing it and what you're doing. Um, Things change, people change, places change. So this practice is not meant to be static. It's meant to be very dynamic. And sometimes we forget that when something works and we want it to keep working that way. And when it is time to change, our mind or our egos of wanting comfort in knowing what's going to happen, that safety, we can become really attached, or maybe I'll say attached to this specific way of being. And sometimes it takes a lot of bouncing around and really falling hard on our faces before we kind of are like, oh, okay, maybe there's a possibility of change here. We're interesting beings in that sometimes we need a lot to be upon us before change is likely. There has to be enough pain or suffering or whatever it is that you're like, oh, okay, I think maybe this is trying to tell me something. Um, but the other aspect about sharing our practice with others is there's a sense of accountability and responsibility for what you do and how you do it. Because when you're telling other people this, um, perfect example is, I um, share this practice of meditation with vets, combat vets. And so when I tell them that they're feeling a little off that day, or they're feeling really grumpy, or, they found themselves swirling around in this, mind state of anger, find a few minutes and sit down and just listen to one song, and just see if you can kind of begin to kind of settle your snow globe that's been kind of all shaken up and you can't see anything clearly anymore, just to be able to sit and focus on one song, just kind of let all the snowflakes settle down and be able to maybe get off the cushion, meditation cushion, and have a little more clarity to what it is you need to achieve. So of course, when I'm going around in my day and all of a sudden I'm like grumpy and this is not right and this is feeling really irritating, it's like, oh, well, maybe I should take my own medicine and sit for a few minutes. It's really powerful when you start sharing that practice, how it very much is kind of like a rubber band back to you on saying, well, did you do what you told other people to do? And then, there'll be times you're like, fight your own self about it. But then when you actually do sit, you get off the cushion, like, wow, that did work. Sometimes it's that amazement. It's very interesting. And it's cool to be able to have that surprise, reaffirmed. It's kind of like exercise. Maybe initially you don't exercise because your muscles, are sore, your body hurts or whatever. Exercising obviously within your means of capacity. And over time, you kind of move beyond that if you're still being able to exercise within your capacity, that, exercise, you feel a little bit stronger, you feel a little bit more energized, you feel the kind of high from the endorphins and so forth like that. So it's always a constant conditioning of our mind and our bodies to kind of apply the practice. Even though we know the practice, I keep applying it and keep applying it. Yeah. Yeah. Yes, definitely a practice. Um, Questions or thoughts on that? Um, so with regards to the technique that we practice in meditation, we combine music with focusing on our chakras, and chakras are the energy centers on our bodies. Similar but different to the aspect of acupuncture, where they have like different pressure points. We also have energy centers on our body that affect us physically, and we have 7 total. And we focus on 3. And the reason why we focus on 3 is because those 3 actually inherently affect the chakra below it and above it. So it's like the I don't want to call short path, that kind of has it's an efficient way to be able to affect all your chakras while meditating. Efficient. I would call it efficient. And from that, so we focus on 3 chakras. The first one we focus on is a few inches below our belly button, and it's kind of navel center. We call it the power chakra. It's where your willpower resides. A lot of times when you do martial arts or you're exercising, you feel like you really have to like pull yourself up by the bootstraps to kind of give your last hurrah. That's kind of where you draw your power, your energy from. So a few inches below your navel center is the first chakra we focus on. The second one is at your heart center, and it's a place of balance, love, and also where your sense of humor resides. Helps to keep things in perspective when we get too serious with ourselves. And the third chakra is in between our eyebrows, a little bit above. So kind of, we call it our third eye, the place of wisdom and knowledge, discrimination. So when you are focusing on these chakras, it's best when we start to kind of focus in the general physical area, even though it's not the actual physical location, because it's a energy center. So trying to kind of make that tangible, we focus on the physical aspect of the body. So navel center, heart, and then third eye. And we pair the focusing of the chakra with one song. And the reason why we do that is listening to music is very handy in today's day and age because there's so much noise. We kind of take noise like music and it cancels each other out. It's kind of like, if you had a thorn in your foot, you take maybe another thorn to help, get the thorn out. So we'll listen to music, and each song is about 4 to 5 minutes long. So also at the same time, it's like a timer for you for meditation. So when you sit for 3 songs, you've sat about 15 minutes, let's say. And it also provides another place, another point of focus and attention of where you can place. So initially, when you focus on the first song is playing. You can begin by listening to the music to the exclusion of everything else. And if you feel like thoughts come in, which is natural, it's how our mind works, you can push them out and keep refocusing on the music. Feel as though you've written the music or you're conducting the music. So it kind of goes a little bit deeper beyond just listening to it like a radio. And when thoughts come in and you're feeling distracted again, you can then maybe change your focus onto the chakra that you're focusing on. So if you're starting the first one, it's the power chakra. And when you focus at your navel center, the focus becomes kind of like a feeling. So being able to kind of cultivate a feeling in that area and focusing on that until the exclusion of everything else. And when your attention starts to wander, see if you can remove it and shift it back to the music. So you can kind of go between the two and see where that goes, where that leads you. And then for the second song, to the heart chakra, you can focus on the music to the exclusion of everything else, or you can switch your attention to your heart center and so forth for the third eye. So let's go ahead and try listening for the 3 songs. Again, making sure that your spine is tall, spacious. The other day, I was watching the video of what Rama put together of these nature videos when he was scuba diving in all the various different oceans around the different islands like Fiji and Jamaica and so forth like that. And all you see are these different types of fishies and sea anemones, coral, and it's a dolphin and stingrays. And it's amazing because after you watch a few of the kind of clips, some of the things, the animals, the creatures that are happening in the bottom of the ocean, you forget you're in the water and you're in the ocean. Because sometimes the blue in the background looks like maybe the sky, or the light that's shining down looks like sunlight. And just makes me remember how we're so much like those fish and those creatures underneath the ocean and the water. We forget, that we're in the water and the ocean. We forget that the peace and stillness is all around us, and it abounds. It's truly everywhere, and it's just ability to be able to sit and allow our minds to slow down, set the thoughts aside for a bit, and then you start to feel that peace. You start to remember you're in the water, and you get to kind of feel kind of the flow of the ocean. I'll open this time to any questions that anybody has. Any good jokes that people know of? Okay, yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Mhm. Mhm. Sure. Times when we don't want to share our practice. Mm.
Certain.
Not wanting to share their practice.
Well, but you should
Uh-huh.
We'll see if she figures it out.
We'll see.
Sure did.
Huh? Yes, I think that's a very, very good disclaimer to make with regards to sharing our practice or sharing the practice with others. Um, I think first and foremost, be able to cultivate your own practice to the extent where there is a foundation around it, so it's deeply rooted in your life where it can't be shaken uh, for any number of reasons. Because when we put the practice out there into the world, majority of the world is not majority of the people that we come across are suffering in some way. And when other people are suffering and they hear this practice, and even though it could be a benefit and so forth like that, it could be exactly what they need, it may not be the time for them to receive it, or it may just not be the right conditions. Um, Kind of similarly to planting a seed in a garden, all the conditions have to be right for the seed to kind of grow, take root, and blossom. Taking into account not forcing anything upon other people, of course, and also um, being aware of gauging the appropriate of time, and the appropriateness of the person, appropriateness of the situation when you do present the practice. Because sometimes it can have a backfiring effect, and that backfiring effect is actually not the practice or not you. It's really just the person that is suffering so much that is not able to be in a space or a place to receive it. Is that where you were kind of leading to? Or there's other.
Yeah, because if they're really stuck in their ways, your foundations and solid, they can actually start talking you out of your practice.
Yes. Yes.
Have the proof that, oh wow, when I sit, I feel better.
Yes.
And when you talk to somebody like, oh, that's all bullshit. That's just brainwashing.
Yes.
Do that, and then all of a sudden you start questioning.
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's a great point, and it definitely goes back into being able to cultivate kind of a baseline foundation for yourself and your practice first, that you feel strong enough for that before you go out into the world and share it. I mean, in some ways, you have to kind of don your own armor when you do move about in the world. And on top of that, when you're sharing your practice, I think of any kind of fitness trainer, they don't go into the gym and start going around or going out into the streets like, you should go to the gym and you should lift weight and you should exercise. Like, excuse me, what are you talking about? It's so much nicer to sit on the couch and eat potato chips and, have a nice drink. Let's just be lazy together. And if you, as a fitness trainer, haven't even cultivated a practice to really see the results, and not just see the results, but really, really have like harnessed it into your life, like it becomes your bloodline of some sorts, it will absolutely be easy when your friend asks you, oh, let's go sit on the couch and watch a game and just eat pizza and veg out. It's like, oh, okay, let's not go to the gym today. And then that, of course, doesn't help your practice, doesn't help you, and actually can hinder you in some way. So you have to obviously be able to have a practice in place so that, using exercise as the metaphor, that when you do ask friends to join you on some excursion or something, they want to veg out instead, that you have the strength and the willpower already developed around your practice to say, oh, well, you can go enjoy the football game on the couch and stuff, and I'm going to go for a quick run or exercise or walk first, and I'll come back and meet you later, and I'll catch the rest of the game, etc. Stuff like that. Yes, there's a very interesting balance of the practice that we do, and that being very sacred and private to us, because it's in our own time, and our with ourselves, for ourselves, by ourselves, And we have to balance that with being a human being, wanting to connect and have associations and relationships in the outer world. And if you yourself are not squared away and kind of grounded in yourself, who you are in your practice, and you go out into the world and you have these connections with other people, it's very easy to be thrown off center. It's very easy to be kind of uprooted by what you thought was true or right for you. And that's a big challenge that everyone faces this day and age, when we're so bombarded with what we should do, how we should eat, how we should do our diets, or how we should live our life, and the things that we should buy. It's not just marketing, it's society. So uh, when we cultivate that practice of meditation for ourselves, with ourselves, privately on the meditation cushion, you really start clearing away, all that stuff, and you really kind of are able to tune in and hone into on your own specific homing beacon. What is true for you and what's right for you. And if another person is like, what, I'm totally loving this gluten-free stuff and blah, blah, blah. And, maybe it rings a bell for you and maybe you try it out and it doesn't work. But after that, you go back to what works for you and what's true. And everyone else in the world that wants to be gluten-free, they're welcome to be gluten-free. And that for yourself, you need some carbohydrates. You need pasta or potatoes or whatever it is that gluten's in. Almost to lunchtime. Now it's moving metaphors from exercise to food. Yes, yes. And even more so, just following that vein of thought with regards to, honing in on what's true for us, especially this time during the holidays. We're more so impacted by the relationships, specifically maybe family, that we're around when we gather around them for all the various different holidays that you may celebrate. And it becomes even more of a practice, in such that family and people that are close to you are really able to know the exact little line and word to say to you to kind of make you question yourself, who you are, or what you're doing in your life that makes you feel good. And so in those situations, definitely cultivating a warrior's mindset, I feel, where you're able to be with them with love and shared love, and also knowing what's true for yourself to be true for you, and moving from that place. Did I miss anything?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And talking about all the societal shoulds.
Yes.
Should buy this latest, greatest toy, need this to be happy.
Yeah.
And women for a long time had to deal with, this is what you should look like.
Yes. The image.
Body image thing.
Body
And
image.
I know with, television, all the advertising, I wonder if guys ever feel that. Do you guys ever see that?
That's an interesting question. Of course.
Yeah.
You do.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. Nobody ever talks about that side of it. Say, oh, it's just the women, like the toothpick woman. Like I saw, it was funny. I caught myself. I was reading this magazine called Health, and they had a little section on meditation and how to get help. In her little yoga pants and little crop top, meditating. And I looked at it.
Was she posing or was she meditating?
She was totally posing, because how she was sitting with her, she was on the ground, but she had her back, she was almost like this.
Oh.
So she had her gut all sucked in.
Yeah.
So she had like the super
arc. Spine,
and
yeah.
that would really hurt after a while.
If
It's
you're
that is
meditating.
very bad sitting posture for meditation.
Yeah.
But it was so she looked, like this hot skinny thing
Oh.
meditating.
Yeah.
Like, wow, that's so weird. Because you meditate, kind of stick your belly out.
Yeah.
Tell
Your hips
forward. The body image, it's like even creeping into spiritual practice now.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if guys notice that too, because I see, the super fit gym guys, muscles and everything, 6-pack.
Meditation doesn't give you six-pack abs.
No, it doesn't.
Other things
Water
might.
belly.
Could you imagine our bodies after all these years?
Yeah.
And it's helpful to see the Buddha who's so happy.
Yeah.
Have a big belly.
Yeah, guys are there. Bodhidharma.
Yeah.
Big belly.
Big
Chinese
belly.
spell.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course, that's out there all the time. A lot of it has to do with the question of like, what can you do? Do something. Do more. Look more of that part. Whether or not your body tells you that you can feel it.
Mm.
Sometimes you get mixed up with that. Or I feel like, look like.
Mm-hmm. 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 I think I definitely feel so. I'm not a guy, but I saw a commercial the other day, even on like, the football channel, the sports center. It's like the hair for men, it's like the gray hair to like the nice brown, dark colored hair. And then it's like the cute skinny girl with him, right? But then when he had the gray hair, he didn't have anybody with him. It was very, it's like, really? But going off kind of the magazine thing, yeah, I don't look very often in magazines, and we're in Barnes and Noble. I was like, oh, okay, I'll pick up a magazine, quickly browse through, and it was I don't know, also a women's magazine of some sort, something about like Zen and cultivating some sort of happiness or joy in your life. And it was all these little articles, and every single one of them was like, 20 more seconds to the best life of your life. 16 seconds, and you'll be so happy. I was like, wait. It's very interesting how we've, obviously become so impatient of a culture where it's 16 seconds and you have to be able to cultivate all the happiness you could for the rest of your life. I mean, based on that alone, I was like, no wonder we're so unhappy. Just like 16 seconds, 20, dang it, I didn't get it today. And then you're miserable the rest of the day. You're screwed. Yeah, it's such a lost art about cultivating things slowly, over time to have such a sense of like a master piece around it.
It takes a long time to make certain dishes.
Food wise?
Like 2 days.
Wow.
And
I don't either.
that's the classic example.
Yes. Yes. It's microwave.
We used to do that. It was easier to do that.
I know.
Well, I wasn't trying to do as many things.
I know. I cook brown rice in my little microwavable pack, and it's 3 minutes. Frozen, Trader Joe's. And even 3 minutes, I'm like, gosh, you're taking too long. Hurry up, I'm hungry. 3 minutes. That's sad. I mean, that's the epitome of the world.
Even when we're waiting for our computers to turn on.
Oh.
And the antivirus software to load. It's like, come on. And then if you were to actually sit and time it,
It's not that
it's
long.
only like a minute or two.
I know.
But,
So
And
fast.
what do we do during it?
Good. That's a good
That
question.
time of waiting. I think that's the whole. The one part I recognize that that's a good space to be in.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exit time for practice. A good space to be in while we're waiting.
Well, I have to remember that next time I do a workplace meditation
Yes.
class. get in there in the morning and you come in and you turn on your computer, because at night you should always turn your computer on, go and rest.
Okay.
Turn it on. Use that minute just to meditate.
Yes.
When you at work, you complain because you're waiting for the computer to shut on.
So true. But if you don't have that training, you end up that waiting ends up being this mind place of kind of spinning, and then you can spin out, and then whatever impatience.
This, that, oh my God, I gotta talk to this other person. Like,
Of course,
oh,
of course.
I don't want to do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, no, seriously. But even that setup, that initial setup, by the time you even are on your computer to even begin work, I mean, the mind state you're in is already blown up. Yes, very interesting. Interesting. Well, thank you so much for being here today. Yeah. Mm-hmm.